Now for our kill switch. The cart already has a little mounting bracket and a kill switch for the motor, so we go ahead and use that for our on-off switch for our speed controller. This is when we wire it up to the frame here as just a ground. They got a wire underneath here that goes back to some kind of taped up fuse looking block, and then a wire tie, and just the end's just cut off here. So we'll get rid of all that. Take the switch out. We'll run up some fresh wires from the switch back to our speed controller. Now we got our wires unhooked and all unrouted. So we just use a pair of pliers to undo this nut right here. Drop the switch out so we can get to all the wiring behind it. There's our switch. I'll get all this mess off here and see what we got to work with. We're under what it says on the side here, if you can see it. It's an on-on switch. It's got 3 outlets. So we can use this for a forward-reverse switch for a brushless motor. I got plenty of standard toggle switches, so I'm going to save this and just replace it with a standard toggle switch. That's all we need is an on-off switch. That's what the label says, but it's definitely an on-on switch. And it's got 3 outlets. It's not lit, so the number is ST42D. I don't know what the hell that means, but that's what it is. I got an on-off switch. Got spade terminals on it, and then some wire to run back to our speed controller. That's going through the switch box. I noticed this is the switch that come out of the cart, and I noticed it was an on-on switch that we can use for a forward-reverse switch. But then this has been laying in the box forever. I noticed this is an on-on switch also. So I got a couple on-on switches now. But most on-off switches are only going to have 2 terminals. That way it breaks the connection or makes the connection. And the only other time I've seen 3 terminals on just a standard on-off switch is when it's lighted. That way you have a ground port you got power and ground going to the switch to power the light, and then the switch connects power on the other 2 terminals to switch whatever you're switching. We'll get this mounted up in here and go from there. Alright, we've got our on-off switch mounted in here. Alright, now that we got the kill switch all mounted, we can run our wires back to where they need to go. Keep them nice and close to the frame so nothing's hanging or sticking out. And we can use a couple of wire ties to strap them down. Alright, now we got our key switch or kill switch wires routed back to where the speed controller is going to be. Got to hook it to the speed controller. But they're not all of the outlets are marked. This one says brake light. This one says charging port. This one's blank, and then this one's blank also. That's when we refer to the directions. Especially since I can't read Chinese. So referring to our directions data sheet, this is for the 24 volt up to 500 watt, maximum current 30 amp. Rated for chargers up to 3 amps. That's if you charge it through the controller, I guess. Conversion efficiency is supposed to be 95%. Under voltage protection is 20.5 volts. That means once your batteries get down under 20.5 volts, the controller won't draw power from them anymore, so you don't kill them. And recommended fuse size is 40 amps. Oh wow, I've only been using 30 amps. Okay. But what we're getting to is, this tells you what the battery's for. This one tells you the motor, what colors and what they do and everything. But let's get down to key switch for right now. They call it lock. And it's the key switch connector, mating connector, if you need to buy a connector. But we're not going to do that. I just snipped it off. We're going to put spade terminals in so it's more user-friendly for us. But the main thing is the wires are red and blue. The other small ports are red and black, yellow and black, red and black, and red and black. And then the bigger stuff is the throttle with 3 wires, the motor with the 2 big wires, motor wires, and then the battery wires. So we know for sure our red and blue wires are for the lock. That's why over here on the speed controller I went ahead and snipped them off already. And we have the other ones. The yellow and black is for the brake light switch. This one is marked brake light, so if it was on a scooter, or if you wanted to put a brake light on your vehicle when you hit the brakes, it would send power out this to light up the brakes. Wonder if it had to be 24 volt bulbs, or if there's a converter in there to convert it down to 12 volts. We'll have to test that later maybe. But for right now, we're going to crimp on a couple of spade connectors on here, and then also on our kill switch wires. That way we can get them connected together. So to wire our kill switch up, we've got 4 spade terminals, 2 males and 2 females. Let's connect together about like that. If you got the terminals with these nice sealed up connectors, you don't always have to use the shrink wrap. You can also double it up, but just to keep it simple, we're just going to put it together with just these. So we have to splice down about a 1/4 inch of wire off all the ends of the wires. Then we'll crimp on our ends, and then we'll connect her up. So I strip our ends back about a 1/4 inch as such. And on the speed controller end, we'll put the female ends and slide them over, and we'll crimp them down. And give it a nice crimp or pinch down as such. Now that we've got our 2 key switch ends secured on, now that we've got our 2 spade terminals secured onto our key switch wires, we can put the male terminals on the end of our wires going to the switch.